Is now the time that Magic the Gathering collectors and investors will come back to the hobby? Let's chat about it. Well, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie, and I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. Thank you so much for clicking on this video, in which I hope we get to discuss and have a conversation about the timeline of Magic the Gathering collectors exodusing from the game, and maybe why they'll come back. I would love to know your comments in the comment section and your thoughts as well. So today, I was kind of analyzing and thinking through Magic 30 and looking at some charts and some graphs of when some of the iconic Magic the Gathering cards started declining in value. I'm talking your dual lands, some of your older, Grim Monoliths and things, and just asking the question, is it time for some of these cards to start getting interest again? And, honestly, as I looked at it, I saw Magic 30th as this huge moment, and I think everybody would agree with this, where a chunk of, I'm not going to say a large percentage or a large number of, but a chunk of Magic the Gathering collectors and investors exited some of their positions as a result of the negativity towards Magic 30th. And I would say that at that point, an exodus happened for a lot of people, and the attitude really changed. And then we have Lord of the Rings come up, and I, for one, thought Lord of the Rings Universes Beyond was going to have some negative effects on the whole Magic the Gathering ecosystem, but what it proved to be was that it was actually a wild success for Wizards of the Coast and for the Magic the Gathering brand and whatever. So I have this question now. Is this the timeline of which people will start coming back to the game and considering collecting again and considering, thinking of it a little bit, investing? And so this is the dialogue I want to have, and I would love to hear your comments in the comment section. Basically, if you take a look at the charts, I think a lot of people equate the downfall, the downtick of Magic cards, reserve-list cards, to the Magic 30th print. You have things like Bayou. The pre-pandemic high was in 2018, and it was $340 for the card. During the pandemic, it shot up to $575, and now today in 2023, it's about a $425 card. The Tropical Island, again, high in 2018 was $370 for the card. It shot up during the pandemic to a $780 card. This is revised prices, and is now sitting at about $520. And it is, I will say, it is the Magic 30th timeline of which those cards dropped in price radically. But this is the but. This is a pretty big but. Magic 30th really, in my opinion, it takes the blame for a lot of the things happening in, reserve-list Magic, dual land type things. But in reality, I think it's more the end of the pandemic and the hype cycle of that. The pandemic effect had a massive effect on Pokemon and Magic and a ton of other games, a ton of other collectibles, not just, trading card games. And I think it's really easy to allow Magic 30th to be the scapegoat for what really was a lot of us getting comfortable with spending a lot more money on collectibles rather than, going out to eat because we couldn't do that, or spending time with family members that we couldn't visit because of the pandemic, and doing all these things. And so I think the question asks, what does this look like compared to the 2018 prices? And I think when you look at it that way, things are looking actually pretty good. So here are, based on that knowledge, if you assume that to be true, and if you disagree, I would love to hear from you in the comment section. But based on that, I wanted to reevaluate my own personal idea on collecting Magic the Gathering, and then share with you some of the things that I think are important when you are considering that. Number one, I do think if you love Magic the Gathering, if you've played Magic the Gathering, let's say for 3 years, if you've made it over the 3-year hump of which most people quit playing Magic the Gathering, and you plan on being involved in this hobby for the next 10 years, and you like collecting, if you meet those 3 criteria points, I think that you should collect a set of revised dual lands. I just think it's a really cool collection. It's something to add to your, your collection of Magic the Gathering, and you don't have to spend the $2,500, whatever it would cost, $3,500, whatever it would cost right now, tomorrow, in order to pick those up. But I do think if you love the game and if you are here for the long haul, if you're a lifer like me, right? You're gonna play and collect Magic the Gathering for your life. I do think that that's a really cool goal to set for yourself, and it's obtainable for a lot of people. Whether or not you have the cash for it, you could trade cards for it, you could slowly accumulate it over a 10-year period. I think that that's a really good win. And I think when you look at the current valuation of the cards, there's a pretty flat line at this point. And if you take a look and you take away the pandemic hype, it does look like a steady kind of incline over time, which does have some sort of like investment purposes. But here's what you need to know. Nobody gets rich off of collecting and investing in Magic the Gathering cards. That's just it's something I used to believe. But the more that I've been involved in the hobby, the more that I realize that the people who make money off of trading card games are the people who already had a decent chunk of money. It's just a different way for them to invest their money, a different way for them to spend their money, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for the average person, you can accumulate some value in your life, but you're not going to get rich off of it. So you might as well just find the ways to enjoy it and what you like. So if you enjoy collecting, I think that's a really good collection. And I think you need to evaluate and collect the things that you love. Maybe it's not revised dual lands. Maybe it's just whatever it kind of just floats your boat in terms, like I love Grim Monolith. I think this card is one of the coolest looking Magic cards ever. Like it's just one of the cards that I always pick up when I can afford it or when I can get it in a trade. I just think it's a really, really cool card, and I like the artifacts. Like it's just, for me, something that I get really excited about. But here's the kicker. Collect what you love and don't overextend, because you don't have to really worry about the values if you're not overextending. If you are not thinking of this as an investment or some sort of like, really get rich quick scheme, and if you're not overextending your value on things or overextending your life money on things, then you don't have to worry about the price shifts and the microeconomics of the whole thing. Because I believe if you take a step back and look at Magic the Gathering as a whole, you do see a pretty steady increase in a lot of the reserve list cards. There's no guarantee in any of this. Obviously, this isn't financial advice or anything. But at this point, where you're seeing the Magic 30th end of the pandemic hype die down to the current prices, I do think this is a time where a lot of people enter back in, especially when you see a lot of people spending, and they were willing to spend $450, $500 on Lord of the Rings collector boxes. Compare that, you can't get a revised dual land in a Lord of the Rings collector box. It's just not possible. And so to see the market be willing to spend money on those things, but not willing to spend money on the iconic cards, shocks me a little bit. And I think there will be a slight correction. Now, I do think, price-wise, I don't think this kind of rocket ships off from here. I think it will just kind of continue on a slow and steady growth. But those are my thoughts. Anyway, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Am I off my rocker? Is collecting Magic the Gathering dead because they're just going to reprint everything? Are they going to reprint revised dual lands in Commander Masters? Are they going to make a better version of dual lands that doesn't violate the reserve list? Let me know in the comment section below. Hopefully you have yourself a great day. Be kind to the people around you, and we'll see you again next video.